welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something really fundamental, how to genuinely improve your writing skills.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And I don't just mean fixing spelling mistakes, but really finding more clarity, more um, impact in your words.
Exactly. Good writing isn't just, nice to have. It's incredibly useful for students, people at work, anyone really who wants to get their ideas across clearly.
Right.
It's about taking what's in your head and making it make sense, making it compelling for someone else.
And the great thing is, this isn't some magical talent only a few people have. It really is a skill you can build.
Totally.
Our mission here is to share some maybe less obvious tips and practical strategies based on what experts say to help you write better, more precisely.
Yep. We've looked at a bunch of sources, some classic guides, some newer research to pull out the really useful stuff. We'll probably
Yeah.
throw in a few of our own light bulb moments too.
Okay, so settle in. Whether you're just listening or maybe ready to take some notes, hopefully you'll see writing as less of a chore and more like a journey. Let's get into our first key idea. You always hear that phrase, good writers are good readers. But, is it just about reading more? Or is there something else to it?
That's a great question. It's definitely more nuanced. Stephen King, in his book On Writing, he says you have to read a lot and write a lot. Simple as that.
Right.
But the reading part, it needs to be active.
Mm.
We sometimes call it reading like a writer. It's like, imagine a chef tasting food. They're not just enjoying it, they're thinking, what's in this? How did they do that?
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually noticed that myself. I read a lot, but it wasn't until I started kind of consciously looking at how sentences were put together, how authors created a mood, that my own writing started to feel different, almost without trying,
Exactly. You're sort of reverse engineering it. And it doesn't have to be fancy literature either. No, you can learn tons from a well-written news article, a good blog post, even like a really clear explanation on social media. It's the quality of the writing that matters.
So how do we do that? How do we read actively, like you said? Any specific tips?
Well, one thing is to keep maybe a notebook or a file.
Yeah.
Some people call it a swipe file.
Okay.
When you read a sentence that just works really well, or great metaphor, or even just the smooth transition, write it down.
Not to copy it, but
Exactly, not to plagiarize, but to look at it later and think, okay, why did that work so well? Another thing is reverse outlining.
how does that work?
After you read something, like an article, just quickly jot down the main point of each paragraph.
Okay.
It helps you see the skeleton, the structure underneath.
That's smart. I started doing something a bit like that with words. I remember reading Cacophony to describe a noisy market,
Yeah.
and I just loved how instantly it painted that picture of chaos. So I wrote it down, and then I actually tried to use it.
And that's the key. Using it. Putting it into your own sentences, maybe in a slightly different way. That's how it moves from just a word you recognize to a word you can actually use.
Right. It becomes part of your toolkit.
Exactly.
Okay, so step one, read more, yes, but read actively, like a detective looking for clues in the language itself.
Precisely. So once you're filling your head with all these good examples through active reading, the next really crucial thing is, well, you have to actually write.
Makes sense.
Like Natalie Goldberg says, you just got to write regularly, every day if possible.
Every day, that sounds like a lot for some people. What about, when you sit down and your mind is just blank? Writer's block.
Yes. Well, that's where Anne Lamott's idea of the shitty first draft is so freeing.
Uh-huh.
The point isn't to write something amazing first time. It's just to write something, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Write about your coffee or something you saw walking down the street.
Or even just write, I don't know what to write today.
Exactly. Just get the words flowing. The act of writing itself is what builds muscle. Don't worry about it being perfect or even good at first.
I can definitely vouch for that.
Yeah.
When I started trying to journal regularly, my only rule was no judging. I didn't care about grammar, spelling, nothing. Just get thoughts down. Sometimes it was garbage, but it was something. Then maybe later I'd look at it.
That's the perfect approach. You separate the creating part from the editing, the critiquing part.
Yeah?
Trying to do both at the same time. That's a recipe for getting stuck. Just write first. Edit later.
Okay, so write consistently, even short bursts, and don't edit while you draft. Let's build on that. What about the words themselves? Vocabulary?
Right. Vocabulary.
Having more words feels like having more colors if you're painting, right? It lets you be more precise.
That's a great analogy. It's not about using big fancy words just to sound smart. It's about having the right word. Exactly. Nuance. Mark Twain supposedly said something like, the difference between the almost right word and the right word is huge, like the difference between a lightning bug and lightning.
Wow, okay.
A good vocabulary lets you pick the word with the exact shade of meaning you want.
But trying to memorize huge lists of words doesn't really work, does it? You just forget them.
Generally, no. Rote memorization isn't very effective for most people. A better way is learning words in context.
How so?
When you come across a new word while you're reading actively, like we talked about, don't just look up the definition. See how it's used in that sentence. Then try to use that word yourself. Maybe aim to use it, say, 2 or 3 times over the next day or so in your own writing or even speaking.
Okay, so if I learn ubiquitous, I see it used somewhere. Then I could try writing, these coffee shops are ubiquitous now.
Perfect. And then maybe later you think, that advertising campaign made their logo ubiquitous.
Right. Use it a few times.
Exactly. That repetition in different contexts that you create helps lock it into your active vocabulary. It starts to feel natural.
Got it. Learn words in context. Use them intentionally. So we have active reading, consistent writing, building vocabulary. What about putting it all together? Structure.
Yes. Organization is huge. You can have brilliant ideas and great words, but if they're all jumbled up, your message gets lost.
Like a messy room? Hard to find anything.
Pretty much. One basic principle comes from journalism, actually the inverted pyramid.
Start with the most important stuff.
Basically, yeah. Lead with the main point, then add details. While it's specific to news, the core idea, thinking about what the reader needs to know first, applies almost anywhere.
So for maybe an email trying to persuade someone or even just explaining something complicated.
You need a plan. Before you start writing the actual sentences, take just a minute or two to outline.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be super detailed. Just, what's my main point? That's your intro. What are the key supporting points or steps? That's your body. And what's the takeaway or conclusion?
So if I was writing about, say, why I love gardening, my outline might be intro, it relaxes me. Body 1, planting seeds, watching grow. Body 2, being outside. Conclusion, it's my happy place. Something like that.
Exactly like that. Simple, but it provides a roadmap. It makes your writing much easier for someone else to follow and understand. It respects their time.
That makes sense. Structure isn't just for essays, it's for clarity in anything.
Right.
Okay, now, the part maybe a lot of us skip or rush through, editing.
Yes. So important.
People write something, maybe run spell check and hit send.
But editing is where the real magic often happens. William Zinsser, another great writing teacher, talked about clutter being the enemy.
Getting rid of unnecessary words.
Exactly. Editing isn't just fixing typos, though that's part of it. It's about making every word count. It's about clarity, flow, conciseness. Sometimes it means cutting words, phrases, even whole sentences that aren't pulling their weight.
So how do you do a proper edit? It feels like you can get lost in it.
Good point. First, step away from it for a bit.
Fresh eyes.
Definitely. Even just 15 minutes helps. Then read it through slowly. Maybe do different passes. One pass for the overall structure and argument. Does it make sense?
Okay.
Another pass just looking at sentence level clarity. Are there awkward phrases? Too much passive voice? Am I repeating myself?
Right.
And a fantastic trick is to read it out loud.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
Your ear will catch clunky rhythms or weird sentences that your eyes might miss.
That's a good one. What about getting someone else to look at it? Feedback.
If you can, yes. Constructive feedback is invaluable. But maybe be specific about what you want them to look for.
Not just, is this good?
Right. Maybe ask, is my main point clear? Or does this section drag? And try not to take the feedback personally. They're trying to help the writing.
Good advice. Detach the ego a bit.
Yeah, it's tough, but helpful.
Okay, shifting slightly. What about technology? We have all these tools now. Grammar checkers, AI.
Yeah, they can definitely be useful. Tools like Grammarly, or even just the built-in checkers in Google Docs or Word, they can catch things.
Little mistakes, typos.
Exactly. They're pretty good as a first line of defense, like a proofreader catching obvious errors.
But there's a but, isn't there?
There is, a big one. They are tools, not replacements for your own understanding. They work on patterns. They don't understand nuance or tone or context the way a human does. They might suggest something that's grammatically correct but sounds awful or changes your meaning.
So don't just blindly accept every suggestion.
Please don't. Use them as a learning opportunity. If it flags something, ask yourself why. Try to understand the rule behind the suggestion. Let them guide you, but don't let them take over your voice.
Use them to learn, not just to fix. Got it.
Another way to really stretch yourself as a writer is to try different styles. Don't just stick to one thing.
Like if you always write emails, try writing something else.
Exactly. Try writing a short story, or a poem, or maybe a descriptive piece, or even a technical explanation of something.
How does that help your, say, email writing?
It makes you more flexible.
Mhm.
For instance, when I tried writing poetry, which I'm terrible at, by the way,
Oh.
it forced me to think so carefully about every single word. That need for economy. It helps you write more concisely in anything.
Yeah, I found that when I tried writing super short news blurbs, you have to get straight to the point, no fluff.
Right. Or writing something formal like a business letter teaches you about precision and audience awareness, different styles, flex different writing muscles.
Makes you a more well-rounded communicator.
Definitely.
So we've covered a lot: reading, writing, vocabulary, structure, editing, tools, style. But underlying all this is patience, right? This stuff takes time,
Oh, absolutely. This is not a quick fix. You won't become an amazing writer overnight.
or even in a week.
Probably not. There will be days when it feels hard, when you feel like you're not improving. Plateaus are normal.
The key is just sticking with it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those small, consistent efforts.
Yes. Showing up, even for a few minutes, it really does add up over time. Think of it like exercise. You don't see huge muscles after one workout.
True.
And this is important. Celebrate the small wins. Like, hey, I wrote for 10 minutes today even though I didn't feel like it. Or I learned that new word and actually used it. Or I managed to fix that really awkward sentence. Acknowledge that progress.
Keeps you motivated.
Exactly. It fuels the journey.
Thinking about your own writing journey, was there ever a moment or a challenge that really felt like a turning point for you?
That's a good question. For me, I think a big leap happened when I really started focusing on what people call deliberate practice. Meaning, instead of just writing, I'd pick one specific thing I knew I was weak on. Like maybe I used too many adverbs.
Okay.
And for a week, I would actively hunt down and try to eliminate adverbs in everything I wrote. Really focus just on that one skill. That kind of targeted effort made a big difference over time. What about you?
You know, for me, strangely enough, it was when I started doing some ghostwriting, writing for other people.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, because suddenly it wasn't about my voice. It was about capturing theirs and making the message crystal clear for their specific audience. It forced me to be really objective, to edit much more ruthlessly. That need for clarity for someone else,
Yeah.
it really sharpened my own writing.
That makes perfect sense. Writing with a clear purpose and audience in mind.
Yeah. So let's maybe wrap up the main takeaways here.
Sure. Okay, so quick recap. Read a lot, but read actively, like a writer. Write consistently, ideally every day, even if it's short.
Mm-hmm.
Build your vocabulary, but focus on using words in context. Plan your writing. Think about structure before you start.
Don't skip the editing and read your work aloud.
Yes, use technology as a guide, not a crutch. Try different writing styles to become more versatile.
And maybe most importantly, be patient with yourself and celebrate the small steps.
That's pretty much it.
If you really try to incorporate these things into how you approach writing, you genuinely will see a difference. Your writing will get clearer, stronger.
Absolutely. And remember, improving your writing isn't just about getting better at writing emails or reports. When you work on expressing yourself clearly in writing, you're also sharpening your thinking. You learn to structure your thoughts better.
That's a great point.
So the clarity you build on the page, it extends to how you think and communicate in all areas of your life. It makes you more effective, period. Maybe think about this. What important ideas could you share more powerfully if you just refined how you write them down?
Something definitely worth considering. Thank you so much for sharing all that insight today.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for tuning in to this deep dive.